off as kind of mentally 3. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and ask him to yield his hindquarters over by physically touching him. Tip his nose slightly. It helps him do it, and it keeps you from being in danger of being kicked. And you're going to use your but don't go forward. So if he goes to walk away, because we need to communicate to him, it has nothing to do with this front feet, especially if we're going to as a mounting block exercise. Good. Rub him. So that's going to matter a lot. If every time he does, I don't care what he does, it could be minute. You wanted to move that white foot back 1 step. Just let him know what a star he is, because that's part of his problem, is he doesn't understand how good he's being. Okay, go ahead and ask him to yield. Good. Yep, yep. Okay. Yeah. He's so young. Don't push. It has nothing to do with your body. Good. So it's a touch to suggest. So it's not a push. You went like this. So I can always tell when somebody's actually pushing, even if you don't think you are. Okay, so go ahead and ask him by touching him. Yep. One more. And you make sure you ask and he didn't just assume. So physically touch him and ask him to do it, and if your hand needs to leave him as he's doing it. Good. Good. Okay. So now to get him to come over, can he come to his elbow with his nose? Can he lateral flex? Okay. So I'm going to walk you through it first, because he's all mouthy, and this is his negative side. So she's going to be happy to do it. Stand as if you're in the saddle, and you're going to bring him as if you were bringing his nose to your toe. Okay? You're going to hold steady. You're going to gently ask him. You're going to suggest that he comes over. Then you're going to hold steady and just allow him to figure it out. So he's going to fight you. And then when he gives, you're going to give. Walk with him if he walks. Don't give back until the line keeps getting slack. Don't give back until he comes around. When he comes around and his feet are still is when you're done. But if you allow slack in the line, he's not going to get the message. Good. After you release, he can do whatever he needs to do to clear his feet, so to speak. Okay, go ahead and do another one. Okay, so he was still a little busy in his feet when you let go. So we want him stopped in his feet. This is your emergency stop. If he was ever to run away with you, you can stop him by doing this if he understands it. It means bring your head around, don't move your feet. Good. Now release, let him have his head. There. It's okay that he stays there, but let him have the option. Okay, good. He's licking and chewing, heads down. He might even go, okay. Go ahead and bring his head around. Now it's a suggestion, like run your hand down the rein. There you go. Then just take a feel, and then it's a, how about you bring your head this way kind of thing. Yep. Yep, he's thinking about it. Stay with him. Yep. Good. Now, because he's offering it almost like he's sassing you, we're going to make sure that we're very particular about getting that one more give, okay? So we want him to offer a little effort after he's done it. You know what I mean? So once he's come around like this, wait for him to go one more time. Then release. And his feet have to be still. Yep, anytime he gets that line from you, just run your hand back down, you know? Yep. Now wait till he gives you a little more give. Good. Now from there, ask again. Hopefully his feet don't get involved, because he's got to learn that his feet aren't part of this. Stay with him. Stay with him until his feet stop, and then once his feet stop, wait for that extra give. Good. And it's cool because you got ahead of the temper tantrum he was about to throw with his head. So he actually had a chance to realize, oh, I didn't have to do that? Now that's what he's pondering right now. I didn't actually have to do all that stuff I was about to do with my head. Okay, go ahead and ask him to come to his elbow again. Stay with him. So now he's turning it into a exchange a little bit. So hold steady as best as you can. Hold steady when he comes around like that. So you're going to just keep, now just wait. Nope, he pulled away. Yep, there you go. Okay, so we're going to kind of give him a little mental break. Actually kind of take him for a little walk. Let him kind of digest that. For a horse that has fire in his feet, you want to at least let them kind of untangle themselves. We had him in a pretzel, and pretzel not only physically but mentally. Now, he's telling you something about that door scaring him. So what I would do is I would help him with that. So come back, you're on the wall, you're on the wall. Don't ever let the scary thing, don't ever let the scary thing get between you and the horse, or the horse between you. So bring him back along this wall. It was something right in here that he decided that he had a problem with, and stop. Stop. Yep, let him look. They can't be scared if they're brave. They can't be scared if they're curious, so. Now, ask him to go around you to the other wall without you moving. Yep, so back him up. Ask him to go to the other side of you. And just lead him to the, send him to the other side of you. Yep, good. Let him look at that wall. It doesn't matter that he's not scared of that wall. Yep, back him out of your space. So imagine, do you ever see Dirty Dancing? Okay, it's a movie. It's a bad title for it, but anyway, there's a personal space thing. So imagine you've got a bubble around you, and he's not allowed to invade your bubble. Because if he does and he always gets away with it, you're always going to be inferior to him. Okay, send him to that post. Communicate to him you want his nose to touch that post without micromanaging it. You're going to talk to him. Well, you don't have to use words, but you're going to just communicate to him what you want. Back him up. Don't you get any closer to it. You're going to send him like you're flying a kite to the post. Don't get any closer to him, any closer to the post. You don't move your feet. Talk to his nose. So we did the yields, right? So he should understand if you do any energy towards his nose, he should turn his nose away. It's okay. You'll blow his mind when he figures out you actually had a plan. Back him up. Yep. Don't you move any further than where you are. Back him up. Don't you move. Back him up. Good. Back him up one more step. Good. Now, suggest in your mind you want him to put his nose on that post. He has to believe that you're sending the same picture. He's supposed to pick up that picture. So what you're looking for him to do is, I could even get even more particular, and he'll do it if you can do it right, is put his nose on that knot on the post. So what would that look like to you if you had him put his nose on that knot? Say, I'm doing it, so he's going to do it. Okay, go ahead. Good. That was a nice spook.
I don't know.
It's a nice spook for if you're on his back, you might knock back if you're on your balance, but that's not bad. Okay, still asking back up. Yeah. Good. Now, tell him you want him to go to the knot post, at least post. Don't you move. So you're going to communicate from where you are. His nose needs to turn that way. If you were to ask him to go out on a circle, how would you ask him to go out on a circle if you expected him to go? And some energy at his nose or his shoulder to get him to turn his head. Okay, so there. Now, give him some energy there. Yep. Don't you move. Back him up so he knows it's not. Yep, there you go. Good, good. Now that's enough. Because he actually already realized it's not forward. Don't tug him. It's all about talking to him. Yep, imagine what it looks like with his nose on there. Yeah, you could, if without touching his nose, you could tap his shoulder to get his shoulder to yield away. But you stop giving him direction. Watch his eye, watch his eye, watch his eye. No, there you go. Okay, leave him alone for a second, leave him alone for a second. That's the message you wanted to get to him. Something over there. You ever play the game Hotter and Colder? Okay, that's what we're doing. Good. Now, help him again. Your head needs to be that way. Your head needs to be that way. Yep, as soon as he turns his head, say, yep, you're right. Yep, now ask again. As soon as he turns his head, we want a bigger turn, a little bigger suggestion on his part. By the time you're done, you're going to be touching the post. Yep, leave him. Yeah. Yep. Wiggle the forward was wrong. So we got to make sure that he understands, because he's asking, am I hotter, am I colder? Yep, 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 leave him. Yep. Nope, forward's wrong. Yep. There you go. There you go. Leave him, leave him, leave him. Okay. Yep. Yep. Now back him up a little bit, because this is too far forward. If you get bored, I'll do it. Just to show that it can be done. I don't want you to stand here and get upset that this isn't working for you, because he can do it. Yep. Yep. soon as his message gets to his nose to turn, then you're going to leave him alone. Oh, nope, that was forward. Okay, stop. So if he asks again, then you know that the message is there. He asked it that way. Okay, so yep. See if he asks again. Go ahead and yep. Good. Leave him alone. I know. This is working my brain. He wants to know what you want to do. He just is waiting for it to be understood. There you go. Good boy.
10:31.
Yeah.
Come on, touch your nose, you bum.
Okay, so I'm going to let you do an up close, yield his body that way, and we'll just ask him to go step over there. That's something you can play with. Yep. Yep. Good. Good. Now, leave him alone for a second. So he's figuring out, so it's something to do with over here. Leave him alone. Now he's exploring, so leave him alone while he explores. Okay, now he's lost interest. So now you're going to go and ask his nose to turn again. No, the way you just were, yep. So we're going to just help him more hands-on. Good. Now one more. Get his feet to cross that one cross, and then we'll be in good position. Good, stop, stop. Good. Let's step out of the way and let him figure it out. Just step to the end of the line, let him figure it out. There you go. Okay. Stop him, stop him. Yeah. Good. So now go do your yoga ball and see if he'll turn his nose there. As soon as he turns his nose over there, yep, leave him alone. Good. Do it again. Yep. Good. Okay. Well, notice he's not afraid of anything over there anymore. You got a piece of wood? All right, there's
Next.
another one. So your goal is to do a lot of personal space stuff using all the things that we just did as far as the front end. Good, stop, good. And now because he understands it, you're going to be like, hey, and then you're going to be forgiving about it. So we're not going to hold any grudges against him, so back him up. He's not allowed to move because you didn't tell him to. Good, so that's what I mean. Be particular, and then just go back into neutral. So we'll get the fight out of him because, you know, he knows how big he is, so he's taking advantage of how big he is. Okay. That's okay. When you get back. So you're probably going to want to start establishing some verbal cues.
Did you let go?
Good. Okay. Okay, so we're going to need her as far as a riding horse. You're going to need her to understand, like, left, right. I mean, she'll be able to understand it with leg cues. But since... Okay.
So right now she's trying, she does trust me, she's listening,
Mm-hmm.
but she's still trying to educate herself in that really little bit of time. She is kind of fighting.
Okay. 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 Right, right. You're emotional and she was going to project. Yeah.
And so it was a fun ride, she knew that. And so we just been doing some walks around, reestablishing a little bit of different ways to ask people to do it.
Right.
So I've been getting her to, I've been working on this hope and her front stuff.
Right. And we need her hearing to know that ho means don't move and other stuff. Right.
Because if I can't give her pressure, it's just gonna run into something. I need her to hear my voice. So we did that yesterday. She was getting good. I had to get out there. Just to realize how serious it is.
Right, right. Yeah, no, and I always say ho means ho, it'll save your life someday.
Exactly.
And they need to be, one of the things that I teach it is with the kind of panic that you would have if your horse is tangled up in the trailer and you need them to stop moving. And you don't want the first time they hear you go, ho! You don't want that to be the time that you do it.
Yeah. So I'm like, you just died. That's why I said to her every time she moves forward.
Well, now on a perspective of maybe she didn't see that and then the spray startled her. You know, there might be another way to help her when you're about to do that so that you don't startle her and kind of make those moments unfair. Maybe when you come up to her with the spray bottle, you touch her with it first so she knows what you have. Because once she's completely blind, you're going to startle the heck out of her about everything you do. So you might as well get in the habit now. Like even when you asked her to stand, all amount of times that you did, not once did I hear you say stand. Which now, when you put your hand out, if she can't see you, she's not going to know you told her to stand. So get really in the habit of adding words to everything so that she understands what's expected of her. She's got a cool body. She's like, you know, she's like a yearling thoroughbred. Like, I like her body.
Yeah, she's beautiful.
So if you were to touch her, say in a riding position, you were to touch her to ask her to yield her shoulder over, I would start asking for, like, and I'd give it different words. Like if I want her forehand to move or if I want her hind end to move, I would start telling her with the leg cue. So you have that, and you're almost going to be better off teaching her all this in the saddle, not because of the sight thing necessarily, but I bet she understands if you move your foot a little forward of the girth, she's supposed to yield her shoulders. So because she understands that, now you're going to just give it a word. Where if we teach it to her on the ground, which we can, but if we teach it to her on the ground, now it's going to be new all over, but she has enough sight to still learn it. But you're going to be able to get a lot more accomplished as far as adding words to everything by saying right turn forward. Like give her some, you know, you don't have to give her a whole sentence. You can find a way, you know, forehand turn. So that way when you're standing on the ground, you can actually command her verbally to move her forehand. And you're just going to have to figure out what words you want those to be. And obviously they don't understand sentences, you know. One words would be the best to find a way to say forehand left, forehand right. I don't know if driving, like I don't know anything about driving, but I know that they have cues for the horses to understand. Okay, so that might be worth looking into what those cues are, or what those, because those are words that they use. Okay, so what other difficulties besides asking her to go into a corner? I mean, that's something you can work on in hand also, where you can put your hand on her rib cage and ask her to bend around you to offer you to bend her into the corner, and then rub her so she knows that it's going to be on the ground. It will be better for her to believe you. Okay.
And walking, I can really get like it's just my opinion, probably a little bit more shocking.
Okay.
She's incredibly willing to try.
Yeah, you can see, like, you can tell she has a sight problem.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it just makes so much sense now.
Yeah.
I've changed. This week is crazy because I've changed almost everything I'm doing. So I'm relaxed. She's just like, I'm fine.
Yeah. It's about me, Mom.
Yeah, I can still keep the same amount. I'm like, I just know your life. So, but she's doing amazing.
So what you might want to do, so she's not reliant on, like when you want to walk with her, start getting in the habit of walking with your hand on her. And then if you want, like say you wanted her to turn right, have a tap that means turn right. And then, you know, like a position of your hand. Like you ever see like Western, like reining horses, they actually have like, this means where the spur touches you here means this, where the spur touches you here means that. And I mean totally different things to the horse, but they've learned the position. So you might be able to teach her, you know, I want you to turn your forehand by touching up here. I want you to turn your hind end, you know, like find a way to just, but you have to be so consistent about it for her to learn it. You know, that's going to be your biggest discipline. Yeah, but think of how much fun that actually could be.
Oh, I know. Like I'm just trying to.
Like you got a new horse, if you look at it that way, you know, like I got a new horse and I get to, you know, you get to experience something that a lot of people don't even have the opportunity to or want to.
Yeah. Yeah. No, when I emotionally come down from this, I'm ready to go. I just realized that I need to take a little bit of time to mourn what was.
Sure.
Now emotionally gear up and say, what we're doing now is going to be great.
It will be, yeah. I sent you a thing about a famous horse that actually he does trail classes and he jumps when she tells, like, and that's, you know, you said you weren't going to jump her anymore. You know, like my dogs will jump, like if I would throw a frisbee, as soon as I yelled hup because they were underneath the frisbee, they knew to jump up even if they didn't see the frisbee themselves. So you can teach her a cue that means jump. She may not, you know, I wouldn't challenge her with, you know, a 2-6. I might say, you know, keep her with cross rails or even ground rails, but you know, something that tells her to pick her feet up.
Yeah, and I've been doing poles and then just saying up every time she has to. So like putting a pole here and then right before she has to lift her legs, her last step is before the pole is up, and then I'll just say up, up, up.
Okay.
She's coming over, and so I just started doing that for this week. She would go over them a little easier without flipping her head so much because I was speaking.
Yep.
But the pole was there. I blindfolded her and asked her to take steps forward and then put the blindfold off and say good job.
Okay.
She lost all sight and still followed me. Just got annoyed that something on her face.
Okay.
The other thing we've been doing is just instead of asking like standing open arm, just saying walk on.
Okay.
Instead of something. So walk on. Still a little bit of stand here. Walk on. And then take it a beat. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2.
So here's where you not giving her any gray is going to be really important. So for example, you just got almost a whole horse length ahead of her. Where I would be, while she still has sight, be very particular about when I tell you to walk on, you know, and that's why maybe keeping a hand on her is going to help her know where you are. And since I don't like horses behind me, you know.
And that's what I've always done, just because it establishes a bit of this way, but if that's something that I'm probably going to be closer to her now, I'm going to have to change that too.
Yeah, the only, like, for example, like Cowboy, if he were to spook and you're walking along, he has no respect for human at all. Yeah. He's going right over top of you.
For sure.
Yeah, and if she can't see, she's not going to know to look out for you.
So it's better for
Yeah, and this will be able to where you can have your hand on her and be able to offer her all the cues that you want to offer her. And it could be, like I said, just subtle points, on the neck can tell her what you want her to do. Does she yield nice with her forehand? And
Yep. So,
so if you wanted her to yield by touch, like she's very protective of her hind end. Wow. And you took the spook right up in her too. Because her breathing just changed. Nice. Good. So I would start adding words to that. Good. So the only thing I would change is if you ever do want her to come to you, I would say over and use the away.
okay.
You know what I mean? So front away
Is
when you want to come. Oh,
Um,
yeah. So you're gonna either.
actually, it's not over.
Yeah, I say out on a circle if I want them to go out. Good girl. Anytime a horse is willing to look at you, that's awesome. Right, but she. So you could teach her to hoe straight on a wall. Yeah, that's a trust issue right there, not wanting you on the side of her. She's giving you every bit of her heart right now. Good girl. Yeah, she's got a ton of heart. She does struggle with you being on the side of her. The approach. Yeah.
And just not being able to see behind her like that. She really always just wants to be right in front of me. That's her favorite place. She still has a little bit of sight right up here.
Okay, so what, I just want to make sure that we work on something you specifically want to work on. Like, I do think that, finding verbal cues for everything, and just making sure that nothing sounds the same. Um,
Yeah, I almost have to like write it down.
yeah.
Because I'm like so confused.
Yeah, and then go out that one day planning to work on just that and like have it written on your hand or something just so that you don't confuse her because gray is going to be so hard for her to understand.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, she does everything I ever asked her to do.
Yeah, she's got an excellent heart.
And so, I mean, I think it's just me being able to hear
Okay. Well, Yeah, what's gonna, either two things are gonna have to happen. Either you're gonna have to keep a conversation with her verbally as you walk around her, because you disappear, and she gets a lot of worry in her eye. Or just plan on always having, imagine that she's a Braille book and you always have to be reading her. So your hands would almost always have to be on her. Well, is there anything, I mean, I know when I originally started talking to you, you didn't know that this was her problem, so it was a little bit harder to say, what you wanted to do at that time. Now I'm sure that's changed.
Yeah, so we're gonna move in the direction of squash.
Okay.
She loves jumping, so I don't want to take that away from her. She will get excited when there's jumps. And she'll go to it if she wants to. So, I mean, we do a little bit here and there, but we're gonna move in the direction of squash. So, I don't know. I guess what I'm asking you for is help communicating with her feelings and bringing her into full trust with me and being able to, like, she's speaking in the lives and
Co-op, right.
being able to give her now to be in my position. So I thought it
Yeah, and as long as the consideration is that she's going through her own thing too, like, yeah, because you had said this was new, started what, last spring or last summer?
yeah, and she seemed good all winter.
Probably because it's brighter, like a different type of bright, ground bright, or duller.
She goes along with her.
Okay. So that might be the time to work with her. Like, work with her in here at night so that she gets that experience and then you can see where she's really at as far as, because if as long as she still has sight, then you may not know where she's truly trusting you or trusting her sight.
See that battle right now, where, she'll do it because my body will say something. Whereas it's just a word.
Right. Well, your intentionality, she'll still feel your energy.
Yeah, okay.
So she should be able, like, even if she doesn't see you, if she felt you coming into her space, like, you ever stand there and have somebody get too close to you in line and you're just like, yeah, before you know it, you're up at the counter and they're right against you. That's the kind of energy you need to be able to offer her.
Okay.
So
I'll show you the word lunching. That problem for walk on.
So see, she sees two hands. So that's what's scaring her right now, is you have two hands up the same level. She doesn't know which way you're asking.
So when I get further away from when I get farther away from doesn't want to stop. So like from the voice, when I'm farther away, I need her, well, she's over there.
Yeah, that's work you're going to have to do on the rail, because you're going to want that straight hoe. And unfortunately, she's quick to startle, but
Very reactive.
you're going to have to startle her to have her understand how important it is. You could, she has a good relationship with you, that's why I'm not taking her from you, because I actually would normally take a horse from somebody to help them learn the hoe as a straight. What I would suggest is you take her out on the rail, and from where you normally would be next to her, ask her to hoe, and say it in a, like, your life depends on it kind of hoe, hoe, like a bark. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to increase that distance. So women have the greatest advantage of having like really good octave changes. So you're gonna want to make it like a ho, like you want it to be so different from what you were just doing. Because unfortunately, you are kind of being like white noise for her. So ho was just a different noise in there. You know what I mean? So from going from 1 2 1 2 ho, she's not gonna really discern the difference. Good. Now rubber. Because she got worried. That's what the step back was. Good. Rubber, rubber. So your enjoyment, her response needs to be so immediate. So that way she knows that. So it can't even really be and then pet. It really has to be like, without totally scaring her. But so that's why ride her even a little bit better would be better because it can so immediately reward that stop. Because she had a stop, that was a planting stop. She did have one extra step, which is the only thing that you need to fix on that. But you're gonna do this so where you're on the rail. And can she go on either side of you? Can you lead her from either side? Good girl. So can you do that without any micromanaging of the snap? Of the snap, because you helped her. Yeah. Okay, so the only thing I'm going to say is you're going to have to decide where you're going to want her to lead with you. Because if you're on the side of her, you can probably communicate a lot more to her. If you're in front of her, she literally, you can't see what she's doing, but behind you, she's got what focus she can have very much into the small of your back. And she's just relying on if you do stop, she's going to bump into you.
Yeah, and so she's still trying to use her sight.
Right.
I need to be here.
Because your hand can, pretend like she's a big book of Braille and you want to keep reading her. Because if you can't, she can't be helped by you. Because plus when you're riding her, you have that contact that she's going to rely on then, so you might as well give it to her when she would.
Let's walk on, walk on, walk on, walk on, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, walk on. Come on, walk on.
Yeah, so even that's going to be something you're going to have to teach her. The lights, especially with sight issues, the changing of the light's going to make. That was nice. Now, I don't want to get after you for any of that, but you were a little unforgiving about what she doesn't know. Hi. Right. So you were being a little unfair. There's words going on, and now there's this and there's this. So she had a lot going on for her. It's the 1 2 that you're doing for her to help her understand the steps. Okay. Okay. And you do that throughout every stride. Okay. Okay. And you want to do that? Because you do realize, the only thing I'm saying is you're going to become hard for her to hear because she's going to start, it's going to be like the TV on in the background. Maybe ask her to do it and then make her responsible for her pace. So like when I send a horse out on a circle and I ask them to walk out on the circle, I pass the rope behind my back. They're expected to maintain exactly the gait that I put them at. So they shouldn't change until I tell them to change. You could communicate through the line. I just think you're going to become a lot of white noise for her to where she's really going to have a hard time hearing what matters.
Sure.